Now, this is one that we've done many, many times throughout the years. It's so good to see you. And you are the air I breathe. You are the air I breathe. Your holy presence living in me. And I'm grateful for you. And I'm grateful for you. Let's do that again. You are the air I breathe. You are the air I breathe. Your holy presence living in me. And I'm grateful for you. And I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for you.
Okay. I'm also the lighting guy today, so you have to excuse me here. Let's see, my lighting look is this. How are we all doing today? That sounds like a group of people that barely survived something. It's like, whew. How are we all doing today? You know what? Stand up with that energy and say hello to a person next to you. Number 9. All right. So if you could take a moment just to silence your cell phones. You can leave your cell phone on. We do encourage you to take pictures, to tweet, to Instagram, to do whatever it is you do, to take photos of the slides so you remember when you get home, to share the live stream. You can do all that stuff during the service. Just make sure you do it quietly. So if you could silence your phone, that'd be a big help to us. We also want to welcome everyone who is watching us via live stream. We know it is a snowy day in Boulder, and it's the true and the proud that are sitting here with us today, but maybe those without four-wheel drives decide to stay home, and that's okay too. We're happy that you're watching us via live stream, so welcome with being with us here today. We also want to thank and welcome all these Spanish speakers that are here listening to this service via the headsets and joining us. Even though this is not their native language, they've made the effort to be here and be a part of this community, so we really appreciate that. We appreciate our interpreters upstairs that do that for us to make that possible. So whenever we're traveling, my family and myself, we like to visit other Unity churches. So we found out that other people do the same thing. Is there anyone here from another Unity church that happens to just be, yeah, which church are you from? Unity Minneapolis. All right. Well, thank you for coming. We'd love to have you visiting us. That's awesome. Say hello to them when you go back, would you? Okay, good. Thank you. All right. Is there anyone here? You're from another Unity? Illinois, Oak Park. Okay, awesome. Whose? A Frank Lloyd Wright church. I didn't know that was a thing. Very cool. Okay. It probably is beautiful, I would imagine. All right. Well, welcome to you both. Thanks for visiting us. And is there anyone here for the first time that's brave enough to raise their hand and admit that? Yes, I'm proud of you. Well, we have a gift for you. The ushers, leave your hand up. The ushers are going to bring you something so that they can find you. And welcome to you, and really appreciate you making the effort to come here and check out this experience. And you are our invited guests, and we're glad to have you here. And we want you to know that we love you. Right? Yeah. We should be able to say that comfortably. We love you. Okay, what else have we got here? I got to check my list, make sure I get to everything. All right, Steve, do you want to come on up and talk about the offering you have for these wonderful people? And introduce who you are.
Thanks, Chad. Good morning. I'm Steve Anderson, and I'm one of the board directors here at Unity, and I'll be teaching the Prosperity Unleashed class this Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. at the Fellowship Hall, and it's 4 classes over 4 weeks, and it's $25 registration and $10 per class. And this class is a culmination of a year-long study into the art of manifesting and how it truly works. And I'll be sharing the 4 core principles that I learned from this year-long intensive and showing the class how to use those basic principles to bring some extraordinary results into their life. And I'll be sharing some examples of some amazing results that I've had in my life as well. So it'll be instructional, it'll be interactive, and a lot of fun, and I hope you'll join us. Thank you.
Thank you for putting that on, taking the time to put that together for us. You ever just tried to manifest something into your hand all of a sudden, just gave it enough? Anyway, I'll practice more at home, and then I'll be able to do it on Sunday. All right. Well, let's move on, shall we? We shall.
You're welcome to stand up and join us. We're going to start
Definitely
music.
stand up. This is all with you.
Feel the light beaming through. It is God.
find people like yourself. They're like you. They care about the environment. They care about what they eat. They care about what they feed their children. They care about what they say in front of their children. They love the planet. They love each other. They're kind. They help. They don't put trash all over the place. These are the people you want to be with. Here we go. Shine your light through me. 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 Awesome.
Beautiful singing.
The band was fantastic. We are so blessed.
You know how many years I've been here, and how this is the first time I've had my pulpit moved for me. And I had to pay him. I had to pay him. I had to pay him $20. Don't lie to these people.
I do require to be paid. Nothing is free, Jack.
Good morning, everyone. Okay. For the last 10 Sundays at the 9 a.m. service, I've been doing a series on mastering this life and the next. When you speak to such a high ideal as that, it is natural for the people attending to believe that you have mastered life. And I have no problem accepting that. Because most of you know that I had my ego surgically removed some time back. No, but keep that thought in mind, because I'll tell you, when you read in the Bible, every now and then you'll see Jesus perform a miracle, and he'll tell the people, don't say anything. Don't tell anybody this happened. And it's an indication that you're not supposed to, brag about something spiritual that's going on. And I've always been aware of that. And so, doing the series, that's a pretty high thing to say, mastering this life and the next. And people, accepted the fact the guy speaking must have mastered life. Anyway, a couple of days after giving the 9th talk, Norma and I drove out to Loveland to hear my son Dell speak at a alternative health symposium. And he's like the keynote speaker. He actually is the voice or the spokesman for the anti-vaccine movement in this country. And he's practically a celebrity at these things. Anyway, we went out there to hear him. It's like about, 10 o'clock in the morning. Dell is speaking at 11. And when Dell arrives, there's already a speaker at the pulpit. But when Dell arrives, he just steps through the back curtains of this huge auditorium. And he steps through the back curtains, and all of a sudden, some people get up and go back because they want to greet him. And naturally, Norm and I got up and went back behind the curtains to greet him. And he introduced us as his father and mother, and people were, oh, my goodness, there's all the, and somebody who he was introducing us to came up and said, my wife and I are attending your 9 a.m. service about mastering life. I said, oh, great to have you. And then everybody kind of went back to their seats to hear the guy finish speaking. And Del was scurried off to a dressing room someplace for some reason. Norma went back to her seat to hear the guy that was at the podium. And I ducked out the door, and I had to go about maybe 150 yards. We had parked our car far away in a parking lot, far away. The reason why we parked there is because it had a tree, a big tree with shade, and I had my dog with us. So I ran out to make sure that the tree was still shading my dog in the car. So on the way back, I took a shortcut through the grass, and I'm running through the grass, and just before I reach the auditorium, I jump into this huge patch of deep mud. And it comes up over my shoes and socks. That's how deep it was. Splashes all over my pants. And I know that right after Del speaks, there's going to be a greet and meet, a big celebration. And, you know, I'm going to be there with the celebrity being introduced as his father. So I come in the back door of the auditorium, and I make my way to the men's room. Now, everybody's inside on the other side of the curtains and listening to this guy speak. So I figure I have some time. I'm going to the men's room, and there's nobody in there. And I go into one of the stalls where there's a toilet, and I pull my shoes off, covered with mud, my socks. Got my socks off, my shoes, it's on my pant legs, and I am washing my shoes in the toilet. I'm doing this because there was so much mud on my shoes, it would have clogged the sink. So I'm washing my shoes in the toilet, and I'm kneeling down. And there's another problem that goes with this. The toilet doesn't flush unless the door on the stall opens, because it's got the electric eye, and you got to open the door so that the toilet will flush. And I don't want to clog the toilet, because then that's going to be another catastrophe. So I have to keep flushing. I have to keep opening the door. And of course, my prayer is that nobody's going to show up in this bathroom while I'm doing this. No. I opened the door at one point, and there's a guy standing there, and he's looking right at me. And I'm there. I've got toilet paper covered with mud all over the floor. I'm on my knees at the toilet, and he looks at me, and I look at him, and it's the guy that's attending my 9 a.m. Mastery of Life service. There are between 400 and 500 people out there, and so he winds up coming into the John while I'm totally in this situation. And he just takes one look at me, and he darts out of the place. I haven't even got a chance to say, but nothing. So I just want to let you know that maybe I will not title my series anymore like that, because it seems to be the universe has something against, this lack of humility. And it seems to focus on me all the time. I could go on for hours telling you about stories where the universe has attempted to humble me. And this is just another one of those situations. So it was a setup, I know that. And anyway, so I'm going to speak about something today. I don't know what I'll title it, because I got to be careful again. It won't be mastering life. It'll be getting on somehow through life. Or managing to get on in life even though God is against you. Some of you know that Eastern sage, Indian teacher, master Krishnamurti. You know of him. He's made his transition, but you know of him. And if you know of him, you know that in his early years, he was being groomed by the Theosophy Society to be the voice to save humanity. He was actually being groomed to be the second coming. And he went on to be the author of many books and gave many, many lectures over 50 years. But early on in his adult life, he rejected the whole idea of being the Savior. Because if you're into the work, as he really was, into the spiritual understanding and practice, you come to the realization, and you can't avoid it, that the Savior is within everyone. That is the Savior of life itself, to bring you into the kingdom of heaven. Call it the kingdom of heaven, call it the consciousness of God, because that's even closer. To become a God-conscious human being. That is the destiny, by the way, of every human being. And of course, you know, it's a matter of choosing to follow that path. Anyway, he taught for 50 years, lectured, and in one of his final lectures, he said, possibly the most important thing I've come upon has been a secret for many people, and it may prevail over everything else I've taught, this one truth. And of course, when he said that, after 50 years of teaching, etc., everybody was on the edge of their seats, waiting for him to relate to them what this one element, this one truth actually was. And it was this truth here. Can we have this on the screen, please? I don't mind what happens. Now, you can understand that in this audience, there were probably a lot of newcomers. Certainly, there's a lot of followers. He had a lot of followers at that particular lecture. But the newcomers, I'm sure, were somewhat baffled by this statement from this venerate person, this venerable sage. And it's natural, by the way, for that to happen. Because people newly on the quest suppose that the spiritual quest or journey actually brings you to a place where you have personal power over conditions and circumstances in your life, that you are able to make circumstances meet your needs and your desires. And that's what being happy, and that's what heaven will be. And so new seekers getting into the practice suppose that that's what it's all about. But then sitting there, listening to this master say, possibly the one element truth that prevails over all others that I have taught is this: I don't mind what happens. Certainly those who had been his followers for a while understood exactly what he was saying. But they knew that it would take a while for anyone who is on the journey to enter into the consciousness that would be able to say this, to believe this, and then to live in the majesty of this truth. But for the newcomers, it was certainly unsettling to their core to hear this. Just as this particular truth, as it's given throughout the New Testament, is unsettling to the core of newcomers. And here's just one area which would be very unsettling to the core of newcomers. Can we have the next PowerPoint up, please? You can read this in Mark chapter 9, verses 33 to 35. And they came to Capernaum. And when he, the master, was in the house, he asked them, his disciples, "What were you discussing on the way?" But they were silent, for on the way they had discussed with one another who was the greatest. And he sat down and he called the 12 and he said to them, "If anyone would be first, he must be last of all and servant of all. In the other gospel, it says it this way: if anyone would be near great, he must be last of all and servant of all. This is disconcerting to the mind that is raised in the illusion, and all minds begin there, especially in the Western culture. This whole idea of being the servant of all just doesn't register in this culture, as you know. And you can just look around you and know how many people are right now watching a football game that should be here listening to this. If you know somebody who's watching a football game and they're supposed to be here, you need to call them up and let them read this passage. So we're not want to hear this truth, which is making the point that diminishes the illusionary, self-centered concept of life. It is an illusion. All the masters down through the ages have agreed that it is an illusionary concept of life. First of all, you already know, having lived long enough, there's no way for anyone to command circumstances to meet and suit their personal desires and needs. You already know that. But in this enlightened state of mind, we are never at odds with circumstances. Can you imagine, if you're not there, and many of you are, to be living a life in which you are never at odds with circumstances? It is because, as you do the spiritual practice, the illusionary initial concept of life, the definition of life, you see, is subjugated. So the personal agenda is subjugated to the agenda of life. What? It's very simple. Simple to say, simple to hear, but not easy to enter with your full awareness. The mind, from our conditioning and our environment in the Western culture especially, and growing up in this way, is cajoled into believing that it should have the power to control conditions and circumstances. That you should be smart enough, or make yourself more important enough, or popular enough, or rich enough, or something enough to make you able to control conditions and circumstances outside of you, even if it means controlling other people. And it couldn't be further away from the truth. Because if you want life and you want it abundantly, you have to enter the consciousness divine. You were born with this at the core of your being, but to uncover it is a matter of spiritual awakening, spiritual practice. So when we are looking at this whole concept here, Eckhart Tolle speaks to this directly all the time. With Eckhart Tolle, it is a matter of saying the only real moment is the present moment. The only real moment is the present moment. And of course, he goes on to say that the mind is forever conjecturing in thought. And what is the mind doing in the initial state of consciousness? It is forever seeking to gain advantage. It's always conjecturing and thinking and contemplating and figuring and measuring and doing all of this. It's never present. And if it's not doing that, it's in the past, concerned about something that took place that shouldn't have taken place, or might have taken place if it didn't go this way or that way. So the mind goes on and on like that. And Eckhart Tolle says, you're never going to find life. You're never going to come to life. How can you come to the enlightened state of consciousness if simply you're going to be led by one illusion after another? The illusion being in the beginning, from the very inception of your birth, that I am a separate body mind in a world of separate others. And in that illusion, your self-interest precedes you in everything you do and robs you in every moment you live. So if you want to come to life, then you have to come into the divine awareness, which is calling to you in every moment of your life. Let's take a moment to consider this video. This is Eckhart Tolle and Oprah Winfrey discussing. They're doing a dialogue about the present moment. I guess we're going to watch
To
that.
most people, the present moment almost doesn't exist, because what they're really interested in is the next moment, or the one after that. So they live always towards the future. They live towards the next moment. And unconsciously, they regard the next moment, the next point in the future that they need to get to, as more important than this moment. Not realizing that the future moment that they so desperately want to get to, wanting to get it out of the way as quickly as possible, needing to get to the end point, on a small scale, on a large scale. And so they don't recognize that the future has no existence except as a thought form. So when you always live towards the future, you live your life trapped in a conceptual reality of thought forms, which assumes a greater significance for you than the immediate reality of life, which is always now. Because your life consists entirely of the present moment. If you truly realize the significance of that statement, your entire life consists of the present moment. Your life is never not this moment. Even when you remember the past, you can only remember it now. And when you think about the future, you can only think about it now. But people live as if the present moment were an obstacle that they need to overcome in order to get to some better point, which never arrives. So that's a mad way to live. And it makes living hard. It makes living into an effort.
Okay, we can fade it there.
That alignment with where you are.
Thank you. This fact diminishes the ego-centered self, placing it in its rightful place as servant instead of ruler. In the Gospel of John, chapter 12, when Jesus speaks about death and resurrection, I'm going to paraphrase this a little bit. Not very much. It's almost word for word. But I will paraphrase it just a little bit. Now is the judgment of this world complete. Now shall the ruler of this world be cast out. And I, when I am lifted up from the thinking of the world, will know all others as myself. Now is the judgment of the world complete. He's speaking, see, to the dead, they see a man in history who's going to be crucified. So that judgment of the world is complete. Now the ruler of the world will be cast out. Who is the ruler of the world? This world is ruled by the illusionary, separate, ego-centered self. And this is what he's talking about. And listen to how it's spoken so beautifully, metaphysically. And the I is what we all refer to ourselves as, I. But when this I is lifted up, out of the illusion it was born and raised and educated in, when that eye is lifted up, I will see all others as myself. That statement alone should put an end to religion. There shouldn't be very much more that we would have to get, because it's all pomp and circumstances and ceremony that leads us around and around and around in the illusion. When in fact, if we grasp the whole concept of spiritual practice through meditation and prayerful awakening, what would we become? We become emissaries of God consciousness. Can you just imagine the masters live each day without any concern for the future, which they say is only imagined, or the past, which is already gone? What are they doing when they're living in the moment? What they are doing in the moment is they're being absolutely one with the agenda of life. That's how Krishnamurti can say, I don't mind what happens. Because whatever is happening is the agenda. You could even say, whatever is happening is the will of God. And to enter it so fully and completely, without resistance, without objection, without all of the thinking that goes on with how am I going to fix things so that the next moment will be better or better and better. How will I gain advantage? In seeking to gain advantage personally all the time, you cut yourself off from the divine intelligence, which is life, of which you are a part. And let me say this to you, if you don't take anything else away from this talk, take this with you. When you talk about all these different powers, and they have the 12 powers of man, and then go on with this and that power, this power. There's only one power, one presence in all the universe, and it is love. Love is attractive. When you enter into that place of love, which means I now am one with all others, and there's no resistance to what the moment requires of me, which means I become the servant of all, of every moment. I become the servant of every moment. Then there's no limited illusionary self trying to manipulate, fix, brand, go on with what it needs for its next movement, adventure, business. It's not necessary. To be alive in the miracle of the moment is to be so totally blessed, you'll recognize what it means to be in the kingdom of heaven. Because at that point, you will have become attractive. And the universe will then bring to you everything you thought you had to fight for and strive for and hang on to and fear losing. All of that will come to you. Seeking first this consciousness of God, all these things that you have sought will be yours as well. Do you think he lived to lie to us? So I'm not speaking to you about anything you don't deep down know is true. You know it is true because it is at the core of your being. So let me share this with you from the master Eckhart Tolle. You can read this in his book, A New Earth, on page 270. Don't let a mad world tell you that success is anything other than a successful present moment. And what is that? There is a sense of quality in what you do, even the most simple action. Quality implies care and attention, which come with awareness. Quality requires your presence. So when you become aligned with the whole, you become a conscious part of the interconnectedness of the whole and its purpose. The emergence of consciousness into the world. As a result, spontaneous, helpful occurrences, chance encounters, coincidences, and synchronistic events happen much more frequently. Can we take this back again, take it from the beginning? Don't let a mad world tell you that success is anything other than a successful present moment. And what is that? There is a sense of quality in what you do, even the most simple action. Quality implies care and attention, which come with awareness. Quality requires your presence. So when you become aligned with the whole, you become a conscious part of the interconnectedness of the whole. And its purpose. It is the emergence of consciousness into this world. As a result, spontaneous, helpful occurrences, chance encounters, coincidences, and synchronistic events happen much more frequently. We all know that the illusionary definition of life is in denial even of the idea that there is a creator. So the illusionary definition of life has it that we're here by happenstance of some sort, and we get on the best that we can, and we suppose that somehow or other we may manage to have some good things happen and avoid some terrible things in our lives. But those who have taken to task their own awareness have come to understand there really is a God, a creator, who is in everything, as everything. And aligning one's consciousness with that opens one up to the omnipresent intelligence. Someone just asked me between services, yeah, but I have, a tough decision coming up. I really got to plan it out or think it through. I've got to, I don't know. I got to make sure it goes the right way. I said, you will never be able to make sure it's going to go the right way. If you check yourself out, when you're trying to make a difficult decision, you go back and forth, you're spinning in it, back and forth. You're never quite sure whether you made the right decision. But with enough understanding, in other words, if you've opened yourself up to the possibility that you are part of an incredible intelligence that knows when a sparrow falls from a bough, has the hairs on your head numbered. Impossible! Impossible, the illusion cries out. But it knows, and it knows you, and it calls you to join consciously the truth of you. So that when difficult decisions arise, there is no consternation about figuring it out. There is insight. Not outside, not book learning, not academia. There is insight. And out of that insight is the knowing that allows you to live free of fear and to live in harmony and peace in all that you are doing. It doesn't mean that you don't set goals. You don't have particular desires. But here's what happens to you in the transformation. You begin to have preferences, not demands. In other words, you say, I prefer to have this go a certain way. I prefer to have this court case go a certain way. I prefer to have this happen with my car. Or I prefer to have this happen when I'm trying to get this done. There's a preference, but there's no demand inside anymore. There's the mind not saying, and this doesn't go out this way, I'm not going to feel good. It doesn't work out for me this way, I'm really going to be unhappy. I may have to get even with somebody. That's not what takes place. You have a preference, not a demand. So you set your goals, but you see, when you set your goals with a preference, you become available to the universe for something that is necessary in the moment that you may not have planned. And so you are there to do that which is ultimately appropriate. Your self-interest preceding you is gone. And the words that come down through the ages to you have finally lifted you up, and you find yourself with the masters saying, I am only here to be truly helpful. I'm only here to be truly helpful. So, Eckhart Tolle came upon this truth after he went through an interesting transformation. He was actually a scholastic individual. He was studying at the university, and he was going to try to be the smartest psychiatrist or psychologist that ever was. And some things happened around him, and he just saw through it all. And he saw the incredible amount of pain and suffering, conflict and fear that people live in. How many people know that Eckhart Tolle spent about 2 years on a park bench feeding pigeons? How many know that all of those pigeons became eagles? And then he came out, and a lot of people say, but how will I get it done? I love that. I get these questions when I speak about Tolle. People come up to me and say, I don't know, how do I get on in life? There's so many things that have to get done. I have to make a living and all this. And to live in that state of consciousness, it's to kind of drop the whole thing. Here's something most people are not aware of. Okay? Eckhart Tolle, living in the present moment as he does, he's a multimillionaire. He's taking care of business all the time. But he's not taking care of business in the same way the illusion-driven of the world take care of business. He lives in the majesty and the miracle of the moment of his life. And all other things are taken care of just as it was promised in the scripture. So now we're going to take a couple of moments, if I can get Larry out here, to do a meditation together. Larry, are you around, or are you out there? Oh, there he is. Look at it. Okay, look at it. Just take a couple of moments and take a couple of deep breaths. Become aware with me that breathing itself is a miracle. Breathing is what we share, like the essence and the essence of life. Just breathing can be a prayer. Remembering to breathe can be a mantra. It is a pathway to the consciousness divine. Remembering to breathe when concerns rise within. Remembering to breathe and feel the presence of your godness and oneness. Remembering to breathe brings a harmony and a peace that is transcendent and allows you to be free. Just breathing is a miracle. It is a prayer. It is a mantra. Remembering to breathe when confronted with difficult conditions. Just breathing. Breathing your awareness back to that divine awareness of God. Imagine now that your body is a complete vacuum and the breath a golden ether. And as you breathe in, that golden ether fills your body from the tips of your toes to the top of your head. Breathing in the refined golden ether of life. It filling your body from the tips of your toes to the top of your head. Releasing your breath through the pores of your body. It carries away all the tension, all the concern. Just breathing. Breathing in the refined golden light of life. It filling your body from the tips of your toes to the top of your head. Releasing the breath through the pores of your body. Freeing yourself from concern, from fear, from conflict. Breathing in the refined golden breath of life. It filling your body from the tips of your toes to the top of your head. You're feeling buoyant, more alive, knowing you are one with the divine. And you release the breath through the pores of your body, healing the world as you heal yourself. Just breathing is a miracle. It is a prayer. It is a mantra. Remembering to breathe when concerns rise within you. Breathing your way back to peace, forgiveness, love, compassion, and presence. Just breathing opens the awareness to the reality spoken down through the ages to all of us. You are the light of the world. Let your light so shine before others that they might recognize the presence in you and glorify it in themselves. As we go forth now from this meditation, let us go forth in the gratitude of the opportunity to study the truth that makes us free. And to this we say, Amen.
Thank you, Jack, for that powerful message. We are going to take an offering for unity now. And in the last board meeting, our board president, Carlo, brought up a good idea for us to remember. What is the value of the experience you just had? What's the monetary value of the experience you just had? If you're going to go out to lunch afterwards today, you're going to spend $12, $15, $30 for a couple, $50. Is this not equal or more valuable to that which will just turn into a bathroom visit later on? Just being honest. So let's invest in what matters today, and let's take our offerings into our hands, and let's bless in this offering statement. If you'll turn and say it with me, it's up here on the screen. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive because I give. Thank you.
You could spend your whole life building something from nothing. One storm can come and blow it all away. Build it anyway. You could chase a dream that seems so out of reach. And you know it might not ever come your way. Dream it anyway. God is great. Sometimes life ain't good. When I pray, it doesn't always turn out like I think it should. But I do it anyway. Do it anyway. This world's gone crazy, and it's hard to believe that tomorrow will be better than today. Believe it anyway. You could love someone with all your heart for all the right reasons, and in a moment they could choose to walk away. Love them anyway. God is great. Sometimes life ain't good. When I pray, it doesn't always turn out like I think it should. But I do You could pour your soul out singing a song you believe in, that tomorrow they'll forget you ever sang. Sing